Hello, once again, Niner Faithful, and welcome back to another episode of 49ers Playbook on the channel that's trying to answer the whys and hows of the game. This past Sunday, the 49ers got a resounding victory over the visiting Miami Dolphins. Brock Purdy stepped in and made some clutch plays to help the team get a win. But the big story of the game was the continued stellar play of the defense. They forced 4 turnovers and contained a potent and explosive Miami offense. The defense played well at all 3 levels, even with 2 big busts in coverage. They controlled the line of scrimmage and forced mistakes from a highly talented offense. Controlling the front is always important, which is why you should check out the Lawnmower 4.0 from Manscaped to make sure your golden nuggets are kept well groomed for the holiday season. This episode is sponsored by Manscaped, and you can head over to manscaped.com right now and use promo code JD49 to get 20% off and free shipping on any of their products, including the Platinum Package 4.0, which is the Nick Bosa of sack management. It has everything you need to meet all your needs. The Lawnmower 4.0 is skin-safe technology to protect you from unfortunate nicks and cuts. The Weed Whacker 4.0 ear and nose hair trimmer, premium shampoo and body wash, body scrubber, crop reviver deodorant, crop reviver spritz, disposable shaving mats, and high-quality travel bag all in one package. That's manscaped.com and promo code JD49 for 20% off and free shipping. Again, manscaped.com and promo code JD49. You're watching Johnny Dell's Football Academy. So the game started out rough with a 75-yard touchdown given up to Trent Sherfield. This is a coverage bust. So we start out and it looks like we're running man coverage to the top and zone to the bottom. Then Miami sends Hill into motion, and this looks like it triggers a coverage check, and Mooney Ward walks down into a man coverage look. Then they run Hill back, and right before the snap you can see Ward back out in a bail technique. And Miami is just going to run an RPO with the switch verticals. And in here, Hufanga gets caught up. He should be taking the inside route, but they end up both taking Hill and cutting Sherfield free. And then you have a poor angle by Gibson, and Miami starts off with a bang. Then on offense, Jimmy G gets knocked out of the game. So I've seen some people talk about a missed block here. I can't really say there's a missed block. This one, to me, is on Kyle Shanahan. This is where Kyle can get in trouble with some of these hots. Kurt Warner has talked about this. The way Miami lines up on this, it looks like a cover 0, and it will be a form of it technically, but we're beat formationally. Miami is overloading the 2 receiver side, so if they come with a 0 blitz, you're going to have an unblocked rusher off that side. That means the quarterback is going to keep his eyes to that side, as he's not going to want to turn away and take his eyes off the unblocked rusher. So your only solution to a 0 blitz to that side is going to be Deebo Samuel. This isn't really helping your quarterback out. Why? Well, because of what Miami's going to do. They're going to feign this 0 blitz and then drop 2 defensive tackles into the short middle area. So they'll effectively bracket Deebo out of the backfield. We'll cover this from the all-22 first, then take a look at the line, but at the snap, you can see the unblocked rusher, and Jimmy is keeping his eyes to that side. Deebo is his outlet versus this look, but Deebo is bracketed. Jimmy should have just taken the sack here, but you can't blame a guy for trying to make a play, and Jimmy's out. What I would like to see against this kind of a look is let McCaffrey be your hot and Deebo on a check and release or something that allows you to pick up the extra blitzer and then work the McCaffrey side. You had a couple options there, but you have to protect Jimmy's backside. So here's what I'm talking about. We're in scat protection here, and we have 5 blockers on 6 rushers, and we slide away from Deebo. Again, I'd like to see the protection flipped. Now, sometimes Kyle does give the quarterback the option to flip the protection, so that's a better question for Kyle Shanahan. But by backing 2 defensive tackles out, this is only a 4-man rush, and they get a free rusher. This is something the Dolphins did many times throughout the game, and it took a while before we were able to really make Miami pay for this look. Back on defense, some of Miami's struggles were not just Tua. So now Miami's going to come out and run the exact same play they hit the 75-yard touchdown on. Why not? Worked once, try it again. This time we cover it better, and Hill doesn't recognize the coverage. So Hill is looking down the line and he sees what looks like two zone, because against this formation, our defense is in two zone, but as Hill motions across, it triggers a palm coverage to that side, and you can see it by Lenore bailing out. Hill is running a coverage adjustment route. Versus cover 2, he's going to run a vertical. Versus deep third or quarters coverage, which this is, Hill is supposed to run a hitch. Tua throws the hitch, Hill runs the vertical. Then Warner gives us a great play that provides dividends down the line. So if you watched my video on the defense last week, I showed a play just like this that Warner made against the Rams. The Dolphins are running a Shanahan staple, the dagger concept, and Warner again recognizes it with the clearing route and covers the dig and gets a hand on the ball. And it's fortunate for Miami that it's not picked off. Bear this in mind as we go through the video. So I'm going to be covering a lot of the Purdy stuff later in the week, so we won't cover a ton of it today, but we'll talk about the run game since we haven't had much to talk about this year. I know John Chapman has been pounding the table for Jordan Mason this year, and we saw some real good things from him in this game. Here we're running our wide zone, and Mason does a real nice job of reading this outside in. The interior defensive linemen of Miami ate up the double teams, and the linebackers are ready to fill their gaps. But Trent Williams pulls off his patented move on the backside defensive end, and it opens up a huge cutback lane for Mason. So now we're going to run a split zone. And Trent Williams does a great job walling down. Juice gets the kickout block, and it opens up another big hole for McCaffrey. We then get the first touchdown of the game to Juszczyk. Here we motion Juice over late, and Miami is running a man coverage here. The late motion is what will mess with Miami. We're running a pick play here with Ayuk running a quick route, and then Juice to the flat. It was ran well, but Miami got caught looking in the backfield, and no one picked up Juszczyk coming out into the flat for a touchdown. So back on defense again, we're going to force an inaccurate pass. Remember that Warner play from earlier. So here, McDaniels is going to run a number of concepts in one. I actually really like this play design. They're going to have a Yankee concept, which is a deep post with a high crosser or deep over route, a Speedo concept with a clearing route and high crosser or deep over, and a divide concept with an outside streak and a deep post. So you have multiple answers for multiple defenses. We're running a 3 zone here, and there's a couple really good plays here. So first, Mooney Ward starts out on Waddle. Then as he sees the deep post coming, he moves off Waddle and covers the deep post. This allowed them to bracket and shade to Hill early in the play. Then Warner didn't bite on the play fake and then does a good job of dropping into the throwing lane to Waddle. This is what Tua sees, and he tries to make a layered throw over Warner, who is taller than people realize, and it sails too high for Waddle. Tua got blamed for just missing on the throw, but Warner 100% affected the throw. Then Bosa gets one of his 3 sacks in the game. So being short yardage, Ryan sends out a package we don't see too often, 5 linemen. So they're going to try and use 2 different backs to stop Bosa off of a run fake, and Bosa is just an athletic freak. He dodges both guys and then goes and sacks Tua to force a field goal. So back on defense, we again get an off-target throw by Tua. So like I've talked about a lot with our Palms coverage, this triggers to a 2 zone if there's a quick out from the number 2. So Miami is going to run a quick out with a deep corner route to have a smash concept, which is a 2 zone beater. Lenore does a good job of gaining depth, and with pressure in his face, Tua is thinking he's got to make another layered throw, and it's off target due to the pressure. But then some of it was Tua just being off target. We're going to get another busting coverage here. Not sure what happens, but Greenlaw is expecting help over the top. Lenore matches in man, and Hufanga drives on the inside throw, leaving Wilson free, but Tua misses. Then quick pressure forces another missed throw. Here we're coming with a double B gap blitz. Bosa will attack wide on the tackle, and Warner will cross the face of the guard. This will open up a lot of space in the B gap for Greenlaw and Gibson to come through. There they put Wilson in a 2-on-1 bind, and Tua has to get it out hot, forcing the incomplete pass. Then we get a big run by Jordan Mason. So it's a wide zone, and Aaron Banks does a heck of a job here. The defensive tackle is trying to stay on Brendel to keep the linebacker clean, but Banks drives him to the ground, and this is what opens up a cutback lane for Mason, who makes a great read and cut, explodes through the hole for a big gain. Then, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This time, Trent Williams gets in on it and makes a pile. Then back on defense, another off-target throw. This is another example of how the defense was absolutely affecting Tua on these. Here they're trying to hit Hill on a dig down the hash. Tua is just starting his throwing motion, and you can see Hufanga is in the throwing lane, so Tua is trying to make a layered throw to Hill over Hufanga and in front of the safety. But this is also to one of the shortest receivers in the NFL. Then Nick Bosa gets his second sack of the day. So what do you do when teams are chipping and doubling Bosa? You come with a stunt. Here we're going to bring Warner on a blitz, and so he and Ebicom will occupy the tackle and guard. From there, Omenahu and Armstead will slant outside and open up space for Bosa on the stunt. Armstead does a great job here. Notice how he gets in here and hooks the center's arm and pulling him out of the hole to open it up for Bosa. But we can't talk about this game without talking about this throw from Purdy. So Miami showed this same pressure look they did on the play where Jimmy got hurt, and this time they're going to back out into a zone. But again, drop the 2 interior linemen and get a free rusher with only 4 guys. Here, Purdy just does a heck of a job. At the snap, and you'll see this better from the end zone, he's going to quickly look off the backside safety and hit Kittle on a post with a guy coming at him. Big time play by a guy coming in off the bench. Then we're going to get a really well executed play to Jennings. So one thing I talked about in the Saints review was poor execution on some of our pick plays. Miami's in man coverage and we do a really good job on this pick play. We're going to run Ayuk vertical and then Jennings on a choice out. Jennings does a great job of getting in behind Ayuk, and this forces his defender over the top of the interference. And we get Jennings open and then he breaks a tackle for a big gain. Then we finally get a good answer for these pressure looks. Miami is again showing this heavy pressure look and Kyle just runs a bubble screen against it. If a team is going to do this over and over, make them pay for it. The play before this, Miami showed a 2-zone, and Kyle has a really well-designed play to beat this. We're going to run a short split with Kittle and Ayuk. And Ayuk is going to run a quick out. This will force the cloud defender to have to turn and widen. We'll also have Kittle run a spot route, which will occupy the hook defender, and then hit McCaffrey in between the zones that have been stretched. Great play call and design by Kyle. Back on defense, we get our first interception. So Miami motions Waddle across. We're in our palms coverage and the Dolphins are running arches. Now, I'm not sure what happens here with Wilson. He's just supposed to run a short post or angle route here to follow behind the shallow cross. But he gets tied up trying to make a move, and Tua throws it under pressure to Ward, who makes a Superman interception. Back on offense, we get an okay gain after the pick, but you're going to see some of the stuff that needs to get ironed out during this week with Purdy. You can see the timing of the snap on Juice's motion is just a little off and it disrupts the play. That's something I think they'll clean up through the week. We then get a second pick off Tua. Now this is just a bad throw by Tua. You'd like to credit the defense, but that's just a bad throw. So after another field goal, we give up a huge touchdown. So one thing the cover 4 we run a lot can be susceptible to is this concept, the Mills concept. It's a dig plus a deep post, and it puts the quarter's safety in conflict. Now, the way Nick Saban teaches this coverage, the safety will match the dig and the corner is responsible for the deep post. That's a tough task for Mooney Ward to cover the fastest receiver in the game from an outside leverage. But this is also why Tyreek Hill is the leading receiver in the league. Out of his release, he's going to push Ward wider and wider to create that space he wants over the middle. Ward needs to keep his eyes on the number 2 a little longer, and when he sees the dig, he's got to tighten up the coverage and know the middle of the field will be open. But back on offense, we're looking to close out the game, and we get a huge first down from Deebo Samuel. So the key for these toss plays are, how do you get to the linebackers? Brandon Ayuk hasn't gotten enough love for how good he's been in blocking this year. This guy has taken a major leap and he's been fun to watch. He's going to have a crackdown block on the linebacker. Then we're going to motion McCaffrey across to go pick up the corner. and Juszczyk will lead around and he ends up picking up the other linebacker. The guy who actually makes the play is a safety from the backside. If he doesn't make an absolutely great play to run this down, this might have been a touchdown, and Debo knows it. Then McCaffrey gives us our biggest run of the day to make it a 2-score game. This is just what we saw earlier with the Mason cutback runs. Wide zone, and Miami fills everything front side. But if we run it back, look at Trent Williams again. This move always cracks me up. How he will work guys down to the ground and it opens up a huge cutback. Then we get the game-clinching strip sack by Bosa. Miami is trying to run a deep speedo concept here, and with it being such a long developing play, Bosa is able to get home. This is where he has special athleticism. He's going to hit the tackle with a speed rush. And when the tackle gets turned, he turns it back inside to knock the ball out right as Tua is throwing. Then Warner gets another pick and cleanup. Well, that's it for this episode, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And again, stay tuned near the end of the week for a special video looking at Brock Purdy and how I feel about him as the starting quarterback going forward. If you'd like to support the channel in any way, I'll have links for that below. The season was shaping up to be a special one for the 49ers, but the injury to Jimmy Garoppolo has put everything into question and doubt. The defense is definitely solidifying itself as one of the premier units. But until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and go Niners.